Happy Monday. Welcome to Hacks, Tips, and Tricks for Real Estate Agents.
It's Monday.
It's Monday, and Mr. Rocky's here. If you're just joining and haven't been on before, my name's Hallie McCrory. I am a realtor and team lead for Empower Real Estate Group. And this is actually a coaching call for Tarek El Moussa as well, and his team, the agency. With eXp Realty, and I've got my co-host Casey Stiers on, real estate agent. She does commercial, residential, all the things in North Carolina, out of Raleigh, and also known as the downtown guru.
That's right.
Love it. Oh, and I'm currently in San Angelo, Texas right now. Work part-time there, part-time in Dallas, Texas. So Texas girl over here.
Texas all the way.
Although I had a client today saying he wanted to buy something in Switzerland. So hopefully in Switzerland too.
Right. That's got to be a good amount of money there. Switzerland. They have good candy there, or chocolate, I think.
Chocolate. It's the chocolate. Yes. Swiss chocolate.
Yeah, it's always like, no, that's Switzerland.
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of my, I guess, just a little subtle plug for eXp. We have a global marketing certification program that allows you to practice real estate without borders. So that's a little side note. If you're interested in that, we've actually done a past show with Olivier Mevalek, who's one of the founders of that program through eXp. So I can send you a link to that past video, or I'm happy to tell you more about it. So that'll be a whole nother, we'll have to have him on again. I think they are making some changes to it. And so getting into today. So it's just going to be me and Casey today. Normally we have on a guest, but sometimes we do shows just us two. So I just went to the Flipping Summit, Tarek El Moussa's Flipping Summit. If you don't know Tarek El Moussa, he is HGTV's like superstar. He does Flipper Flop, Flipping 101. He is like the flipping guy, flipping houses. And he has a team with eXp Realty. He has also a program called Homeschooled, and he's a real estate investor. So that the Homeschooled, he teaches people how to invest in real estate.
I was doing homeschooled, and that's how I ended up at eXp.
Really?
His things, yes. And
I knew that, but I always forget.
Yeah, he was telling me you should just join eXp. It would make everything so much easier for you. And I was like, And then I did like a 3-minute call with Haas, and voila.
Yep. Haas is the best. Yeah, and if you don't know Haas, you can go watch last week's show. He's the listing boss. He's probably my favorite real estate sales coach.
Yeah, he's good.
Not probably. He definitely is.
Yeah, he writes a recipe. Basically, if you follow it, it's like a recipe to success.
Yep, exactly. Just got to put the work in. Yeah. Oh, and also Tarek also has Tarek buys houses. So if you have a deal that you need to get sold, send it over to them. He also has TEM Capital. So if you're an accredited investor, that's an option for you. And if you don't know what an accredited, I guess you have to, an accredited investor, you have to have a certain amount of capital, and I think they check your proof of funds.
Yeah, it's proof of funds and then capital, and I think maybe
once a month.
How many deals or something you've done, like something.
Yeah, accredited investor definition. Let's see. I'm like, I know what it is, but I know there's probably like parts that I'm missing. Yeah, it's a special status under financial regulation laws. And there's a whole thing. Are you an accredited investor? Do you have a net worth of $1 million? That automatically means you're an accredited investor. And you don't count your primary home. Well, then there's a no option. Are you single? No. So if you're single, if you make more than $200,000 a year for the last 2 years and think you will make it again, then you are an accredited investor. And if you're joint, if you're not single, it's 300,000 per year between the two people. I guess. I'm sure there's more to that too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah. So that's one of his other companies, and they had their stuff there. But this was focusing. I would say majority of it was focused on fix and flip investing. So if you're new to real estate investing, there's fix and flip. There's fix and hold. So where you fix up a property and hold on to it and put a renter in there, or you can owner finance it, short-term rental. And then short-term rentals are another option. So like if you have a property and put it on Airbnb or VRBO. What else? There's creative financing that goes into real estate investing as well. You can buy and hold already fixed up as well. So there's lots of different types of real estate investing. Hi, Lisa. But I would say majority of this was focused on fix and flip. So if you liked finding distressed houses and are interested in fixing them up, that's what this was mainly about. And they did say, so this was their very first flipping summit. They did say they're going to do it again. Mm-hmm. So I think they were saying maybe it's going to be
the next one. So.
I think they said it's going to be in Vegas. Not positive on that though. So the first day, I mean, the whole experience was incredible. I personally, I was more there for networking purposes, although I did learn a lot. For me, that's my husband's thing. And I get involved in the process as the real estate agent. But if you guys don't know, my husband, Colin McCrory, he's also been on here. He's a builder and investor. And he was flipping around 60 houses a year up until interest rates went up. And now he's focusing on custom and spec homes and custom remodels. Not to say that it's not still a good time for it. There was a point there where we were definitely a little worried about it, but it seems like the market's kind of correcting itself. And honestly, here we're back down. We're back down to pretty low inventory, and there's multiple offers left on houses. So
that's how Raleigh is too. So.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's also like his dad wanting to retire and just do like some wholesaling on the side. And then Colin was really wanting to get into custom work. So it mixes stuff. I don't want that to scare anyone off. It was really
we try to flip at least 2 houses a year.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say that too. You guys do that too.
Yes, we do. So we're actually actively looking for one as we speak right now.
Cool. So. Okay, so Raleigh people, if you have any
fix and anything,
send it to Casey.
Send them any and all. So just even if we hit our 2, I mean, we're open to doing other things as well.
Yeah. So the first day was pretty much all focused on the fix and flip process. They broke it up into, finding the deal, funding the deal, fixing the deal, and then the flip part, like selling it.
Yeah.
I loved it because a lot of it was mindset stuff. I think a lot of people get into, or even they hold themselves back from even starting the investing process because they don't know everything, and you don't need to know everything. You go find a mentor to help you.
Yes.
And that's, a lot of it was promoting the Homeschooled by Tarek, which I do think it's a really good program. I'm not in the program. Maybe Casey could speak more on this, but I mean, I feel like everything that Colin learned in like a 6-year period, if you did homeschooled, you'd learn it in like 6 months to a year.
Yes. Yep.
So basically you're paying for that like time speed up, I would say. Like they literally have like,
and he lays it out for you. He makes it easy. Like certain things, like our big thing was I wanted to be able to walk into a house. I was wondering if he had like a sheet, and he does. Like when you walk into a house, that just breaks things down. No, it's not going to be exact. That's the thing with flips. If you go into a flip and somebody tells you it's going to be exactly this, then that would be a red flag to me, because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly this, like how much it would cost to flip
Like how much if somebody goes in. And we always tell our contractor to do basically add in over. So that way, and we tell him if it's anything for a certain percentage, it's going to have to come out of him. If you're betting to contractors. And so, because we usually bid the job out to 2 different people, we have 2 people that we work with. And we tell them both, if it's not within a certain percentage, like I think it's 5%, Adam says, then that's out of pocket on you. These things have to be done, kind of thing. So don't underbid to get the job, because that's something that you've got to be really, really careful with. People will underbid to get the job, and then you get in and they're like, well, it's going to be an extra $10,000, $15,000. So, but things do happen, such as when we ripped up tile in my house in Garner. I mean, the flooring, they had active leak. They just leave tile on top of it. So we had to redo all the subfloor. Things like that, that's out of your contractor's hand. But certain things, if you look at an inspection report, they should be able to give you a pretty good estimate. So
and even having like a contractor walk through it with you and stuff. I'll touch on that too, because they had a guy come in and talk on the whole process of how you vet contractors too. Like it was that in depth. I'll get back to it, but really they started out more with mindset stuff. I thought it was really good that they did that, because so much of people's success is held back by mindset, which we talk about all the time. But it's just, they had Tarek talk about his experience. I mean, he got in, he pretty much picked real estate or school and got into real estate. Was living in his parents' garage, and they said, success either comes from inspiration or desperation. He was like, it was definitely a little bit of both, but there was some desperation there. I mean, I was broke, living in my parents' basement, got into real estate, overheard some agents talking about how BS real estate coaching was. So then he was like, there's real estate coaching? Because I guess he was like in it for 6 months and wasn't doing well, but just didn't know what he didn't know and didn't know what he was doing. And so we found Tom Ferry, who's now like probably the biggest sales coach on the planet. And it was really inspiring to see his whole process. And then he did really well. His bread and butter was calling expired listings, still is. So, never think you're too good for expired listings, because even that's what Tarek El Moussa does.
I mean, that's Haas's too. That's jam too.
Yeah. And so he was just talking about his breakthrough moments. So I have this little packet, and it's like, what is a breakthrough? It is a moment in time when everything changes, where what seemed to be impossible suddenly seems possible, and where you no longer settle for anything less than extraordinary. Breakthroughs are the reason people succeed and companies thrive, no matter what is going on around them. So I just thought that was, I don't know. Yeah. I think even if you haven't had a breakthrough yet, start thinking about what a breakthrough could come from, opportunities where it could come from, start having gratitude for a future breakthrough. And I think things like that, I don't know. I personally believe things like that come. Or if you're like a super religious person, pray. It's this, pray.
And I say it all the time on here. Just get up and make the calls. Get up and set yourself a schedule. Plan your week. Like my big thing I've been doing is I have all my YouTube videos put together, and I've been putting them. And now they're starting to build traction, and things are starting to happen with those as well. But it didn't happen overnight. I mean, that's been about a 9-10 month process for me. So,
yeah, exactly. So what else? Yeah. And they even, so this kind of went this was the end of day one, but they had people calling Zillow leads. And I think that's where people get scared, is to start calling people and calling for deals. So they had people doing that there on the spot. And I think a lot of people got over their fear. of making calls. So I thought that was really cool. Like they broke down the whole process of
Do one thing each day that makes you uncomfortable.
of finding the deal. So so the 4 F's: find it, fund it, fix it, flip it. They brought in people, experts for each of those. I'm just going through, I can't remember who was. They had Jerry Green, who is the founder of CEO REI Field Academy. He was really good. So they had a lot of their coaches. I think there's like 10 homeschool coaches. It seemed like it was around 10, and they had all of them speak. They were just all the nicest people.
How was Mary and Roman?
Oh, they were amazing. I'll get to them too. So to find it, they talked about, they went through the process of calling Zillow leads, expired listings, stuff like that. And then they got to the fund it part. So that's where it was interesting to me. I knew what like hard money and private money were, but they just went more into the specifics of them. And that's anything you could Google. I've never had to be forced into that, to learning that. Like that was always Collins Avenue. Just, there's like, he does like has relationships with local banks here, like lines of credit. So it was interesting for me to learn more about other ways to fund deals, and especially getting into the second day when they had Jamil and Pace Morby, and they had talked about creative financing. I'll get into that too. I'm just trying to go in order so I can think about it. And then they had Kiavi. That was like, if you're looking for some, I think this would be hard money. Kiavi was their like preferred hard money person. And I actually talked to an investor out of Houston that has used them and said it was a little bit difficult.
Did you make any connections? Because you and I always talk about how you go to these conferences to make connections.
Oh, yeah, it was great networking, because it was just, most of the people there were pretty like-minded, right? Just wanting to succeed, very positive. So yeah, the connections were amazing. Kiavi, this was I think they're in 33 states. They're in Texas and North Carolina for sure. It was more of like rural states that they weren't in. So the Fix It speaker, this guy, Matt DeBarra, I keep wanting to say Demora, but Matt DeBarra. So he's the undercover contractor. He basically got started. So he's a third generation contractor. Like they have a general contracting company. And he grew up in the masonry business, and he actually got started out. He started a YouTube channel like outing bad contractors, which was pretty wild to me. I'm like,
bold.
you try to out bad contractors, and like they're coming after you with the cartel. So,
but I'm sure like it kickstarted his business because it's something nobody else is brave enough to do.
Yeah. So the undercover contractor is basically a program, and they've integrated him coming into homeschool. He taught a whole class on how to vet contractors, which I mean, Colin has taken forever vetting contractors here, or not forever, but like, I mean, not that it doesn't take knowing the information, it still takes a process, but it was just he had really good tactics, like very specific tactics. So if you're interested, I mean, I could go into that, but it would probably be better
in the chat.
Yes. Matt DeBarra, the undercover contractor. Oh, DeBarra. Dang it. I spelled it wrong again. Okay. Yeah, he was just really cool. Super young guy too. Hire once, hire right. The right contractor can guarantee a great project on time and on budget. He taught us how to find, vet, hire, and manage them. So pretty much like Contractor 101, which was really, really interesting. And then it went to the flipping part, listing at right price, using a realtor, staging, even in the seller's market, and professional photography. They went through all of those items as well. Building your business, so marketing and making your, like, talking about your website, direct, like they talked about direct mailing, so like how to find the deals, like what you do, or just like they had tips from the coaches. Oh, and then I think so that was pretty much day one.
Okay.
And then we had a networking happy hour. So that was awesome. Met a lot of like crazy people, like probably the biggest plumber in Beverly Hills, which was really interesting. He had crazy stories to tell. We got to, Tarek was there networking, and Heather. Mary and Romaine didn't come till the next day. But I did, like, Pace came that night. So I got to talk to Pace, which was really cool.
And yeah, he's interesting. So
Yeah, and so I first found out about him because he bought a big 43 unit apartment in San Angelo, and it came on our radar, and we were like, who is this guy? And then we started following him, and then we found out one of our investor friends was in his community and already doing his method of creative financing. And from there I just started following him, and then I signed up for this, and I was like, oh yes, Pace Morby. And I think he was the best speaker there. He was amazing. So just going through this more. So, oh yeah. And so the networking was really great there. I mean, even if you're not like super into investing, just
making connections and
like there were like huge private money lenders there, which are really great connections to have. And then, so the next day we started out, let me pull up the agenda. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, and this was in Scottsdale. I don't think I said that. So that was really fun. No one hates Scottsdale. Well, maybe there are people, but everyone else loves Scottsdale.
I need to give it another shot. My first go round didn't, I don't know.
Oh, it wasn't good?
So I need to give it another shot, though. I hear lots of good things about it. Did you get to see Buck and Allie?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So Thursday, I came in Thursday, and we had lunch at Sharon Lecter's house. So for those of you who don't know, again, that's one of our people we've had on here.
Go back and watch it.
Yeah. Sharon Lecter is one of the biggest names in financial literacy in probably the world. She was a co-author on Rich Dad, Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki, and she is on the Napoleon Hill Foundation and did the modernization of Think and Grow Rich. And she also wrote Think and Grow Rich for Women, and she has a bunch of other books. Has served 2 different presidents on financial literacy in accounting, and she's just total badass. I mean, I love her.
Yes.
And so her husband is with EXP, Mike, and and she's best friends with our mentor Lisa Copeland, who we've also had on here twice.
Yes,
and it was just crazy, so down to earth. We had Ari Leyendijk came. He's in our organization, The Bachelor. If you guys don't know him, he's been a real estate agent for a long time, sells crazy houses. He was there. That was my first time meeting him. They were just so down to earth. It was so like all of these celebrities there were just the most normal, down to earth people, like talking about internet bullying and how it affects them. And I don't know, it's just really cool. And her house, I mean, Sharon's house was beautiful, just so hospitable. It was awesome. Yes. And then, so that was Thursday. Friday night after Thursday, we did her house. And then we went to, we had a lender come and speak to us and had a little happy hour for our team at Culinary Dropout. and had the draft going. So that was really fun. So we got another lender contact, and he does Arizona, and he does a lot of different states. So that was a good contact for us. And then, yeah, so Friday we went through that, had the networking little happy hour. So Saturday, oh yeah, I just pulled up the agenda. So we started out with a women in real estate panel. Gosh, now I'm forgetting her name. It's Candy Washington, I want to say. I hadn't heard of her, but Candy Valentino, Wall Street Journal best-selling author, 25 years in business, 24 years in investing. And I started looking at her page. She has really good tips on investing, like for new investors all the way to seasoned investors. Should I put her name?
Yeah.
In here. Andy Valentino. There was a guy, Henry Washington. That's probably why I said that. Gosh, we should try to get her on here. She's got a great podcast too. I took a screenshot of it. It's called, something with wealth. Generation Wealth is her podcast. So I'm going to start listening to that. She's had some big names on there too. This is her. She kind of looks like that Fox girl. I think her name's Tiffany.
Huh?
Oh no, Kaylee, I think. I don't know. That's random off topic. But she was the moderator, and they had it was Mary and Heather, and then they had two or like a couple of the women homeschool coaches on there, and they were amazing. Like some from, out of state, like Puerto Rico, and just the panel was really inspiring, and how the biggest take back for me was how women investors, how do you manage contractors as a woman? Because it's already hard enough as a male. And that was really eye-opening. Just very inspiring as a woman there. So then after the panel, we had they had Tarek's mentor there, David Steinberg. He is the co-founder and CEO of Zeta. He was really good and inspiring. My favorite part, and then we had the Selling Sunset panel after, and they talked, about their experience, and Romaine's a contractor too. So that was really good insight from him. What I gained most from them was like just how real of people they were. And I feel like so much of the summit was like collaboration over competition, and that's something that's been a constant theme in our show. So it was just very validating to see that these really successful people are on the same page, and I think that's really a part of their success. And they did say, if you ever see them in public, like come up and say hi. Don't like sit there and like stare at them and like whisper. Like if you want to come say hi, just go say hi, because that and like say something positive and nice, because that means a lot more. They kind of like freak out if you're sitting over there whispering. Yeah. So Selling Sunset panel was good. It was Tarek and Heather, and then Mary and Romaine. And then we got to my favorite part, which was training by Jamil Demige. Gosh, I never know how to say his last name. And then it was Pace Morby right after him. And I didn't know Jamil before. He's like the king of wholesaling. So if you're into wholesaling, that would be a good person for you to follow.
Yeah.
His name on here. And he was hysterical, like the funniest person. And then Pace Morby, he is the creative financing guy. So whether it's like owner financing or buying properties subject to, and I'll get into that.
Mhm.
But so I didn't know, but Jamil and Pace are really good friends, but they're competitors too. Like they're always competing for similar deals. I guess they both live in Arizona, and they're also competing for students as well because they both have their own communities teaching.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it kind of like depends on which avenue the student is going into. Um, so yeah, and so they have a TV show, Triple Digit Flip, on A&E, and it was funny the way they got that show. So it started out Pace talking about it was Pace told the story after Jamil talked, and it was such a funny story. So he's talking about how he got a deal texted to him from a wholesaler, and he was like, ran the numbers. He's like, great, this is an awesome buy. Let's do it. Like 165. Yeah, 165. And the wholesaler replied back, and he's like, oh, sorry, I have another guy just bid it up. You gotta offer, 172 to get it. So Pace is like, okay, I'll do 172. And he's like, no, you gotta beat him. So like 173 or something. Pace is like, okay, I'll do it. Like whatever.
Yeah.
That still makes sense for me. And then he didn't know who the other person was. It finally got up to 185, and Pace is like, okay, this is kind of getting like iffy. Let me run the deal by Jamil and just see what he thinks about it, and let me just get another set of eyes on it, which is cool too because Pace is, he's like, an amazing investor, like he still relies on friends and other investors.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's not afraid to go to other people for not validation, but
He doesn't
for
think
help.
he knows everything.
Yeah, just for another like fresh set of eyes. And so Pace texted Jamil and was like, look, I've got this deal almost locked down. They want to do 185 though. Like this asshole's bidding me up, and I just want to get, let me know your take on it. And Jamil wrote back, I'm the asshole. So they were bidding against each other. So what they decided to do, they decided to buy it together, and they decided to do the deal together. They put out on social media like, hey, we're going to go walk this property together. Anybody who wants to learn our process, come meet us out here, and we're going to do a YouTube on it. And I guess like 30 people showed up, and they did a YouTube like walking through it, and they panned to all the people there, and someone sent the YouTube video into A&E, and A&E contacted them and was like, we need more of this. Like people want to see this collaboration. I guess they were just highlighting the value of collaborating on stuff together and how that can bring success. And for them, it brought them a TV show, which, brings them more attention, which brings them more students and more people they can help, and more people building wealth. And it was just really, it was really funny story, but it also was like, it resonated with me so much.
It resonates with me because I had a deal like that. These people, my car was getting washed, and I was just doing a walk around downtown when my car wash was here. And I saw a for rent sign going to this building. I was like, crap, we need to get that. We don't need another bar or anybody going there. Get it and lease it out to Adam's guy he leases everything from. And I call Adam and I was like, we need to get this. So I was like, okay, how do we go about this? How do we go? And so Adam's like, just put in an offer. And apparently his guy saw it too and was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So they were going up and we were going up and we're going up. And finally I was like, I'm just going to go talk to him and tell him what we're doing. And he was like, you're the jerks that are running up the rent. Like, yeah. So we went in there, and it turned out that I had talked with one of she used to keep their kids, whatnot. Anyways, it was a small world. They're like, well, did they want to buy it? Give me a number. And I threw them a number. And they were like, okay, done. I was like, oh, crap, I probably need to go make sure they actually want to buy the building, and not buying the building. So it was just random. But yeah,
oh my gosh.
The rent was going up and up and up and up and up. And we were like, well, let's just go talk to him. And he's like, man, You're who I'm betting against.
Yeah. It's like the same exact story almost.
Yeah. So it is funny when that happens. So
Love it. Gosh, yeah, it was really good to hear that. And like I guess the way they started their communities because they believe, if you know how to do something, there's other people that are going to want to know how to do it. And
yes.
sharing that out instead of gatekeeping, collaborating with other people, sharing the information, you're going to attract your tribe to you. And they both have huge communities, an insane amount of followers. And so many people have built their businesses and built wealth through them. So it was really inspiring.
Yeah.
Let me look through my pictures real quick too. I can post some stuff later, but they were just really awesome. I can't wait to follow Jameel. I saw Pace is going to be in Dallas this weekend. We're going to be there, so I'm like, I'm going to go see him again. So yeah, that was my favorite part, I'd say, or my favorite like speaker.
Yeah.
And then we did some more Zillow calling. They did actually like a breakthrough to success. They had a portion where you literally
calling. What did they do? You said breakthrough success.
Yeah. So it was like a karate deal. Like they had these blocks and you had to like think about all the thoughts and worries that you have holding you back. And then you punched the little board and broke it. And it was like you breaking through your, I don't know, all your fears.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, so we had another Q&A, I guess, with Tarek. So he answered a lot of questions, just it was really specific stuff that people had questions on. And then we had a VIP dinner that night, which was really cool. So Mary and Romaine were there, Tarek and Heather, Tarek's whole like family was there. So you got to meet a lot of those people and get pictures and stuff. And yeah. So, and that was pretty much all of it, but it was just, really inspiring weekend. Just inspiring people to be around, and then getting to see like our EXP family too was just the icing on top. I love hanging out with everybody. So
that's awesome. I hate I missed it. The Zillow leads, but did they give them to you, or did you have to figure them out yourself?
Yeah, so I let other people do it, since I'm really like not like, I'd be calling someone and be like, okay, I'm not actually looking for any deals right now. This is like Colin's situation. But I think what they were doing, they had some like leads. You had to like go to Zillow, go in your area that you're focusing on, pull up listings that were more than 100 days, and that's what they were targeting.
Dialing.
You call the agent and try to make a deal with them. Even if you are an agent, you can have the agent represent you too.
That's awesome.
So the creative financing part too. I secured one of our investors who's in Tarek's community who's in Pace's community, sub 2. He said he'd come on next week, 5:30. So that'll be our speaker next week, following up on this.
When's Pace coming on?
I know. Yes, I know. That'll be our next move. But honestly, this guy, his name's Alex Salazar, lives in San Angelo with us. He's like a mini Pace. So I think he'll be really good. And he's actually came and talked to my team about creative financing. So yeah, I mean, basically he talked about why creative financing is important, and why, yes, we want to make money, but his whole business is, he has a funny, I won't go into it, but he has a funny story about finding people's bunnies. And basically he calls it bunnies because he helped, the seller didn't want to sell her house because her bunny had just died. And it was just making her like really more ornery, like, you kind of think of ornery old people. And, he was like, well, what is like, I'm thinking about her problem. And he went and like bought her a new bunny. And then she ended up, it was just about like building rapport.
Yeah.
But so, as you build rapport, you ask questions, you find people's pain points. What's driving them to sell or need to sell potentially, what's driving them to price where they price. And with creative financing, it's more about the cash flow. So he had this lady that wanted 110,000. This property was only worth probably 100,000. But he basically dug through, found out that her and her husband wanted to start traveling the country in their RV. So he was like, well, what I can do, I can't pay you in cash for this. You know, if I'm paying you in cash, I'm gonna have to offer you 40 or 50,000, just like every other investor. But what I can do, I can offer you 110,000. Like, he broke down the math, and he figured out that he asked them, how much their RV spots would cost on average at each spot, and they're like, okay, $375. And he figured out that the current tenants there were family to her, and they were taking advantage of her not paying on time. But he knew if he went in there, as an outside, not family,
Yeah.
they'd probably pay on time.
Yes.
So he's like, let's keep the tenants in there. She wanted, if she, like, basically he set up where he was making her the bank, and he was going to pay her payments every month for the house, but she wanted 10,000 down. And so what he proposed was putting 5,000 down 6 months in, and another 5,000 down a year in. And basically he did the math of their rent coming in. He'd basically be making $1,000. He was making it a profit for himself. Gosh, hang on. Colin's, of course, on a call. Okay, sorry. He's running in here. Basically, he structured the deal where he was paying her $375 a month to cover her RV. He was making a profit from the tenants, and that his profit over that 6 months from the tenants was covering the down payment at the 6-month marker, and he had like 1,000 left, or 1,000 extra, and then same thing for the next 6 months, and then on top of that, the equity as well. So she was like so happy. He, made a deal for the sellers. The house was, I think he bought this house like 2020, so obviously the equity exploded in it. And gosh, it is a madhouse over here. I'm sorry.
Hey, Rocky's calling.
My train of thought. I know. I'm a horrible storyteller. I'm trying to.
She bought the house, or they sold the house.
Yeah, he bought it. Yeah,
basically her growing pain. And
but it's kind of like, so he brought it back to the way he explains it to people. He's like, I had this beater truck, this beater F-150. I put it on Craigslist for $10,000, and people kept offering me lower, and I wasn't willing to, give it up then, because it was still a good truck. And basically his wife was like, well, what about if you offer people to make payments on it instead of buying it cash? And he was like, okay. So then he put it on there for like, I think 12,000, and people can make payments, and he ended up selling it for like 16,000 because so many people were able to make payments. Like, people don't care about the sales price if they're able to make payments.
Yes.
So kind of, not that they don't care, but a lot of people, like, in the end, he ended up becoming friends with the guy who bought it, and he was a painter, and he was able to fix up the truck, and he was making like $7,000 a month from adding the truck to his fleet. So like that was worth more to him than, maybe overpaying on the truck, even though, if he's making $7,000, he's not really overpaying on it. Right.
More money.
It just creative financing opens up different opportunities for people to, I guess, either get the price they need on a property, and then on the other, like on the buyer side, like open up opportunities for them to buy something.
Yes.
And so he went through a bunch of different ways on how to buy properties with no money down. And I guess that's like a good example where technically that money, the down payment, came from the rent.
Yes.
So you can structure it where there's no money down. So that's like oftentimes a barrier to entry to real estate investing. And he was presenting, actually he just came out. So when we go see him in Dallas, hold on, what's his book called? Pace Morby. I think it's Wealth Without Cash is his new book. So I think in that book he teaches, he teaches how to do that process.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, if people have a mortgage on the property, so this is what we're going to talk about next week a lot too, and we'll go into more specifics. But it's kind of controversial. There's a lot of people who think this is illegal, but it's actually not. And it's called Sub 2 or Subject 2 is the real name, but people call it Sub 2. And that's the name of Pace's community. And it's pretty much all about people who still have a mortgage on their home. There's a huge population of people who have 2%, 3%, 4% houses. I mean, we're probably never going to see that again.
Probably not. Yep. And I'm gonna do a YouTube on that also. But what the 5 and 6% is going to become the norm, just like.
Yeah. So his way is basically, as investors, you find people who need to sell, and basically everything transfers over, including the deed to the house, except the seller. The seller keeps the mortgage in their name, and the buyer, the investor, pays the mortgage for them. So they get to have that 2-3% mortgage on the house. They, the payments are lower than they would be. They put a renter in there or wrap it, which means putting like another end user in there, like a owner finance person in there or something. You can make it an Airbnb. You can live in it. Like Pace lives in a house that he did on Sub 2. And yeah, so basically you're getting a lower mortgage and also helping the seller out when they, are in a time of need. So, and he does it with cars and then puts them on Turo, that app where you can get cars on demand. He does it with businesses. And these are all in his YouTube videos. So and I think actually in commercial investing, this is pretty common. And we did get this book for free, Cash Flow from Commercial Real Estate. So if anybody in my area wants to borrow it, you're welcome to. It was just very interesting. So they brought in those guys to show you different ways to get into real estate investing besides fixing and flipping. And like Jamil talked about wholesaling and stuff too. So, yeah. Sorry, I talked a lot on that.
No, you're fine. I like it. So, learning. That's what we're here to do. Teach and learn.
Yeah. So I think next week, that'll be a good follow-up to this week, where you can learn more about that process. And whether you agree with it or not, I think creative financing is going to become more and more popular in the residential industry. And I think us as real estate agents need to be equipped to at least know about it and consult our clients on it, whether we agree with it or not. Because like for me, I mean, I have these guys calling me left and right on properties. So, I think it'll be good. And I did, like with EXP, I think a lot of, when I first heard about it, I was like, ooh, I don't think we're going to be allowed to do that as real estate agents or like represent people. But I checked with EXP and we are able to. So, and I'll save that more for next week. But yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. I mean, I missed it. I'm like envious of you right now. So.
I know. You just have to go to the next one.
We had a busy weekend. We had our first pop. It's like we're taken off. So it's
I
good.
know, and you have the new split, the new bar going. So
it was a really good weekend. It was a solid weekend. So
yeah.
we started construction on the other one.
Yay.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend.
Well, we'll just have to go again.
Yes, that's the idea. So
cool. Any other comments or anything?
No.
Cool.
That was a lot.
Oh, we're 50 minutes in. Shoot. Always goes by when you're talking a lot.
It goes by when we do.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited about next week too, though. So
yeah. And it's Alex Salazar. So he'll be good.
And if you are thinking about real estate or a new agent, I mean, feel free to reach out to either one of us. We would be open to answering any of your questions. So that's what we're here for on Monday. It's like a mini training for people. So
yeah. Love it.
So fast track. This is an easy fast track for you to get started.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're here to do.
Talking about our trials and tribulations.
Oh, Lisa said, I think there will be another summit in October. So sooner rather than later.
Yeah. October would be a good time. So we should have everything up and going. So
yay. I'm excited for you.
Yes. So
speaking of real estate investing.
Yes, we're doing that. We actually made an offer this morning on another property in downtown.
For y'all?
And we're trying to be creative about how we're going to go about it. So, so the lady, she's in between like 2 states, and we're trying to, But if we get it, we're going to turn around and we already know somebody that needs their hands on it. So we're going to basically just turn around and sell it immediately. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you don't have anything else, I'm sure everybody's sick of hearing my voice. It was just amazing. I'm so glad to be able to have a platform to share it with you guys. So
that is awesome. I loved it. I was looking forward to this. I was hoping you would get to do this. It made my heart happy. It was like, this is time. So
love it. Well, good. Well, I can't wait to talk more on this next week.
And we need to start our donation thing. We need to get that going next week.
Yes. Yeah. So if you guys didn't watch our last show we did, just me and Casey, we want to start highlighting different nonprofits and getting people to donate. So it'll be coming soon.
Yes. So sounds good. Happy Monday, everybody. Have a productive week. So
thanks, guys.
Really do make a breakthrough. So
yes. Punch your board this week. Punch your fears.
I like that.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week.